Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida. It was late on a Friday night in March 2026. Just a short distance from one of the most recognizable golf courses in America, people were going about an ordinary evening. Then, at approximately 10:30 p.m., emergency calls began reaching law enforcement. Gunshots had been heard outside a Walgreens. When deputies arrived, they found two people critically wounded in the parking lot. They were rushed to hospitals, but neither would survive. Their names were Melissa Wood and Jason Chatham. For their families, what happened in that parking lot was already devastating. But for investigators, the night was only beginning. Somewhere outside the crime scene was a person they urgently needed to find. And as detectives began putting together what had happened in those final moments, the investigation would quickly expand far beyond this Walgreens parking lot. Before sunrise, deputies from multiple jurisdictions would be involved. A vehicle would be stolen. A pursuit would cross county lines. And eventually, officers would find themselves searching through the darkness for a man they believed could be extremely dangerous. But first, investigators had to answer a much simpler question. What happened in this parking lot, and who had disappeared before police arrived?
Last night at approximately 10:30 p.m. at 860 A1A, which is the Walgreens just to the south of us where I stand right here at the corner of Palm Valley Road and A1A, we received multiple calls reference to shots fired in the parking lot of the Walgreens. Our deputy sheriffs arrived on scene. Two individuals were shot multiple times. Both those individuals, of course, were transported and have succumbed to their injuries. At that time, we were given information in reference to a possible suspect that actually known through the domestic violence situation that went on in that parking lot. Again, still trying to gather a lot of facts. During this domestic violence situation, we received phone calls to include the suspect's mother.
The investigation was moving quickly. Deputies weren't dealing with a completely unidentified attacker. Information was already beginning to come in from people connected to the person they were searching for. And one of those calls was particularly important. It came from the suspect's own mother. Investigators now had a name. But knowing who they were looking for and actually finding him were two very different things. Because by then, the man police wanted to question was no longer standing anywhere near that Walgreens parking lot. The search was expanding. Deputies, K-9 teams, drones and officers from surrounding agencies were about to become involved. And just beyond the crime scene was an area presenting investigators with another serious problem. TPC Sawgrass. Thousands of people were expected there the following morning. Police needed to find their suspect, and they needed to find him fast.
The suspect's name was Christian Barrios, and 32 years old as of today. Matter of fact, today is his birthday. This kind of folded in multiple ways. Our K-9 units actually tracked into TPC, which, as you know, the PGA Tour headquarters is over there. It tracked in there. This individual, the suspect, Christian, we believe, had multiple contacts with people that were just simply inside the tour area working on grounds, or of course some security guards there. Our deputy sheriffs with the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office just saturated the area over there in the TPC Sawgrass, the PGA Tour area there. We received mutual aid from Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, Jacksonville Beach PD, St. Augustine City PD. Of course, our air unit was up, our drones were up.
By now, this was no longer simply an investigation at a Walgreens parking lot. It had become a manhunt. Officers were searching an area that would soon be filled with thousands of visitors. K-9 teams were tracking on the ground. Drones and an aviation unit were searching from above. Multiple law enforcement agencies had joined the effort. And investigators believed they were getting closer. Along the search route, deputies began finding items they believed may have been dropped as the suspect moved through the area. But darkness and the size of the search area were working against them. Then the investigation took another turn. Police received a report of a burglary. A vehicle was missing. It was a dark-colored BMW. Investigators entered the stolen vehicle's information into law enforcement databases, meaning that if another officer encountered that license plate, the vehicle could immediately be flagged. And miles away from the original crime scene, another sheriff's office was about to see exactly that car. What happened next would turn the search into a pursuit.
The night unfolded, of course, we received a report of a burglary of where a car was actually stolen, which was a dark-colored BMW. So we started working that burglary, and we actually hot-listed the tag because it was a known tag based on the people that actually owned it. The tag was actually hot-listed, and then, of course, what hot-listed means, it goes into what they call NCIC, FCIC, meaning that if you run that tag is going to come up being wanted in, of course, a crime where the car is actually stolen out of St. Johns County. Nassau County Sheriff's Office actually got behind that vehicle just a short while ago.
The stolen BMW had finally been spotted. But the investigation was now far from where it had started. Nassau County deputies were behind the vehicle, and when they attempted to stop it, authorities say the driver did not surrender. A pursuit began. For investigators who had spent the night searching around TPC Sawgrass, this was the break they had been waiting for. But finding the vehicle did not mean the manhunt was over. The BMW continued through Nassau County with deputies following behind. Then the pursuit suddenly came to an end. The vehicle crashed. But when officers reached it, their suspect wasn't ready to give himself up. He abandoned the BMW and ran. Ahead of him was darkness, thick vegetation and woods, terrain where someone on foot could disappear quickly. Police had found the car. Now they had to find the man.
He said they tried to stop him before, but he kept driving, crashed the car, and then ran into the woods.
The car was stopped. But the manhunt wasn't. Authorities say the driver had left the crashed BMW behind and disappeared on foot into the woods. Now deputies were searching unfamiliar terrain for a man connected to a double murder investigation. Officers established a search area. K-9 teams moved through the woods while deputies searched roads and surrounding areas for any sign of movement. Minutes passed. The search continued. And somewhere beyond the flashing lights and abandoned vehicle, investigators believed the man they had been looking for all night was hiding. For the officers moving through those woods, there was another problem. They couldn't know exactly what would happen when they found him. Would he surrender? Would he keep running? Or would the search end in something far more dangerous? Then, after the long night of searching, deputies finally saw something. Their body cameras were recording.
Don't move. Hey, I want you to take this other hand and put it on the small of your back. Take this other hand.
Deputies arrested Barrios just before 8 a.m. Saturday. Investigators say the case stems from a shooting at the Walgreens at the corner of Palm Valley Road in Ponte Vedra. Detectives say that he shot and killed his former girlfriend and another man that they believe she was in a relationship with. News for Jax reporter Scott Johnson has been speaking with Ponte Vedra residents who are still shaken up. He's also looking into what led up to the shooting.
The arrest warrant for 32-year-old Christian Barrios reads he went to the Walgreens along A1A to confront his girlfriend and her alleged second boyfriend over infidelity. When he arrived at the location in Ponte Vedra, he immediately and frantically jumped out of their car and began walking in their direction. Then, seconds later, a witness heard multiple gunshots. This apparent love triangle turned murder has shocked the community.
This weekend?
Yeah.
Saturday night? What, Friday?
Friday night, and they arrested him Saturday morning.
Friday night. Oh, yeah, I seen it on the news.
This man is working on a construction project out here.
You don't usually hear stuff like that happening down here.
Yeah, it's unusual.
It's very rare. Very rare.
The manhunt was over. But for two families, nothing about this story was over. Melissa Wood and Jason Chatham had lost their lives, leaving behind families and loved ones who would now have to live with what happened that night. Christian Barrios faces murder charges in connection with their deaths. The allegations against him remain accusations, and his guilt or innocence must ultimately be determined through the court process. What began with gunshots outside a Walgreens became an overnight search involving K-9 teams, drones, multiple law enforcement agencies, a stolen vehicle, a police pursuit, and finally an arrest captured on body camera. But beyond the police lights, the pursuit and the headlines are the two people at the center of this case. Melissa Wood. Jason Chatham. Whatever happens next in court, their families will carry the consequences of that night long after the cameras have moved on. Thank you for watching StoryForge. Subscribe for more true stories, real cases, and investigations.